All right, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Executive Decisions for Monday. Do believe this is the 27th or the 28th day of August in 2023. We are pushing closer to the month of September, which obviously means we are pushing closely into the football season. So if you have not subscribed to the Executive Network yet, make sure you get that done right now. Hit that subscribe button. Also, with football season coming closer, obviously you want to start testing our wits against each other, our wits, our NFL knowledge against each other. True form of wagertainment. So what I want you to do is I want you to play in the Executive Network Splash Sports NFL Survivor Contest. You could check the link in the bio, Check out what they offer over there at Splash Sports. We're going to have an NFL Survivor Contest. See who's the last man standing in the very popular NFL office pool type format. Also have a week one pick'em contest already in the Splash Sports lobby. I'm going to take a quick time right quick to show you that Splash Sports lobby so you can get a feel of it, see what they're talking about. This is it right here, the Executive Network over on Splash Sports. Hop in there, got the week one contest up there. Also got a Survivor up there as well. Splash Sports is fully legal and fully regulated and legal. So when you hop over there, you don't have to worry about it. Listen, they pay out right after the contest ends. So safe place to have some fun. Wagertainment is what we like to call it. Coming up on the program today, I want to talk about some NFL X factors. All three of them happen to be quarterbacks. I want to get into that. College football, Heisman Trophy race is off and running. Caleb Williams played this weekend. So did Notre Dame's new quarterback, Sam Hartman. Adam Schefter released his fantasy football cheat sheet. Adam Schefter is not a fantasy guy. I tell you guys all the time, you only really should take fantasy advice from fantasy guys, but I want to go over some of the thing on Schefty's cheat sheet, and then we'll close up talking a little baseball. Don't get too much baseball, but Shohei Ohtani, about had enough of him, and I'll tell you why. But let's start with these NFL X factors going into the season, and obviously, if you're going to be an X factor on an NFL team throughout the course of an NFL season, it's probably going to come from the place that matters the most in the NFL. And that is the quarterback position. And I've identified three quarterbacks who I consider X factors going into the NFL season this year. X factors meaning their success will really determine how well their team does this upcoming 23-24 NFL campaign. And let's start in Big D with Dallas Cowboy interception throwing quarterback Dak Prescott. Obviously, as you all know, nobody has been harder on Dak Prescott than your boy, the fantasy exec, has been. And you know what? Rightfully so, because Dak Prescott is working with a Super Bowl roster, and he's the guy that loses the games. He is also the guy that makes an annual average salary of $40 million. When you make that kind of money, you can't be the reason why the team can't get to the NFC Championship game despite having all the pieces in place. Now, big story coming out the NFL this weekend with the San Francisco 49ers trading quarterback Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth-round draft pick. The Niners more or less throw the towel in and, prove that I was once again right, that Trey Lance is an absolute bum who's not ready to play professional quarterback in the NFL. Now, is that going to change as a member of the Dallas Cowboys? The scenery will change, but the results will likely be the same. I just don't think that Trey Lance has it. I'm not a quote-unquote Trey Lance guy per se. I'm also not a Dak Prescott guy. So you got two quarterbacks in that room I'm not a big fan of. I do like Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. So no, Dak Prescott's job is not in jeopardy. Even though Dak went in front of the media and, kind of like, gave them puppy dog eyes like he always does. Oh, well, nothing's surprised in this business. Nothing's surprised with this organization. I'm not surprised you threw 25 interceptions in the last 28 games, Dak. You see, that's the problem with Dak Prescott. This is why he's such an X factor. I don't think he's the same player since injury. Dak Prescott used to be a playmaker. Now Dak Prescott is a ball distributor, term I heard used by the great Greg Cosell, NFL scout, to break down Prescott. He's an NFL films guy, watches a lot of tape. Agrees, not the same player. But he's well protected by the media. Nobody talks about his interceptions. Don't get me wrong. Prescott, 61-35 as a starting quarterback. Deserves accolades for that. But in the moments that matter the most, Dak Prescott throw the ball to the other team, and that's not going to cut it. So, yes, Jerry Jones was right to possibly add some competition to that quarterback room. Jerry said it himself. In all due scenario, there's no real reason that you should see Trey Lance walking onto the football field for the Dallas Cowboys this season. Me, myself, personally, I don't ever think you see it. I don't think the kid's cut out. But what I do think, though, is that Trey Lance in that quarterback room, also talking to Dan Quinn, gives Dallas an insight to the San Francisco 49ers offense. 49ers, the team eliminated the Cowboys in the last 2 years. So now the 49ers have a player, now the Cowboys have a player that was in the 49ers quarterback room, bringing back information. They also got a guy that, Dak Prescott needs to look over his shoulder a little bit. Dak Prescott shouldn't have carte blanche to that quarterback room. He has not been the same player. I've never really been sold on Dak Prescott. He's had some good years, but since that injury, he's an interception throwing machine. That's why so many Cowboy fans hated Tony Romo. Same guys love Dak Prescott. My man Skip Bayless called him middle of the pack Dak, and that's exactly what he is. So yes, a middle of the pack quarterback may need a little motivation behind him. Trey Lance should probably never play as a Dallas Cowboy. I don't think Trey Lance can cut it. Interesting that Jerry Jones did say they was looking at the Eagle quarterback back in 2020. So Dallas wants to be a place that develops quarterback and don't have to worry about going to a quarterback when you need one in the pinch. Cooper Rush is there, best backup. Dak is no doubt the starter. Trey Lance is probably a blip on the scene this year and moving forward, in my opinion. But Dak Prescott, you got to play better, son. That's the bottom line. And I love the fact that the media asked Jerry Jones, did you talk to Dak before you made the trade? Jerry Jones looked at that dude like he was talking a foreign language. Son, this ain't the fucking NBA. The general manager, the owner, they don't need to consult with the player before they make a move. That's NBA shit. In the NFL, you go ahead and make the move. Another quarterback who is going to be an X factor in the NFL this upcoming season is New York Jet quarterback, former Green Bay Packer legend, wanted to go to the quarterback position on the field during the regular season, Aaron Rodgers. He made his preseason or New York Jet debut this weekend. I think he was something like 5 for 7 with a touchdown pass. Listen, we know what Aaron Rodgers is. The question is, how much of Aaron Rodgers, of the good Aaron Rodgers, are the New York Jets going to get? Because down the stretch of his Green Bay Packer tenure, the Packers got the bad Aaron Rodgers. Oh, well, fantasy exec, he won 2 MVPs. Yeah, but he also never won in the playoffs. He also was aloof. He also didn't really care. He didn't go run and get that first down in that NFC Championship game. He gave the ball back to Tom Brady. You don't want that Aaron Rodgers in MetLife Stadium, because as talented as that Aaron Rodgers is, as great of a thrower of the football that Aaron Rodgers is, that Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. As Lil Wayne said on the brand new Undisputed, that Aaron Rodgers can be a bit petty. You don't have petty Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. You don't have spiteful Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, at least not yet. You have committed Aaron Rodgers. You have give $35 million back to the team so they can go get Dalvin Cook and sign up the offensive lineman, Aaron Rodgers. You got an inspired Aaron Rodgers, a new city, hanging out with Sauce Gardner, Aaron Rodgers, Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers. See, Green Bay got the entitled dude. Green Bay got the upset dude. Green Bay got the guy who cared about Aaron Rodgers more than he cared about anybody else. The Jets get an inspired teammate, good in the locker room. Aaron Rodgers, that's an X factor that can possibly take the Jets all the way to the AFC Championship game. I like the Jets this year over there, win total of 9.5. As a matter of fact, I like the Jets at plus 250 to win the AFC East. I'm in on the Jets because I'm in on this version of Aaron Rodgers. Another guy that's going to be an NFL X factor this year that plays the quarterback position is Cleveland Brown quarterback Deshaun Watson. Now, Watson, in 6 games last year, his first year in Cleveland, after all his legal controversies, suddenly played football since the pandemic or around that time, 3 years or something, since he's really been like a week-to-week NFL starter, besides what he happened at the end of last season for the Cleveland Browns after he served his suspension. Deshaun Watson is an X factor because the Browns are set on defense. They got the best running back in the league. Amari Cooper's a top #1 wide receiver. Kevin Stefanski's a decent head coach, right? Myles Garrett on that line. They got some dogs out there. The problem is they playing an extremely tough AFC North with a Hall of Fame head coach in Pittsburgh and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson in Baltimore and Cincinnati. Now, can the Browns compete in this division? I think they got the talent in the roster to be in the mix. Their win total's 9.5 as well. So people now it's juiced to the under pretty heavily. It's probably going to drop to 8.5. But people think that the Cleveland Browns can hang in there with those teams. If that's going to be the case, it's going to be on the arm of Deshaun Watson, who was horrific last year. Like, there is some, okay, I was rusty. There is some, try to get back the feel of playing football, particularly at the quarterback position. But this was a completion percentage under 60 and a yards per throw at about 6. That's Zach Wilson type numbers. And I'm not bullshitting you. His completion percentage was 58%. Zach Wilson's was like 54. His yards per attempt was 6. That's like Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career. This guy's still supposed to be in his prime. He looked bad last year. Something like 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, or vice versa. If Deshaun Watson steps up to be the player and the quarterback that we remember from Houston, now that AFC is even tougher because now you got 4 teams in the North that can compete, 4 teams in the East that can compete, and at least 2 or 3 teams in the West that can compete. Only 7 of those teams can go to the playoffs. If the Cleveland Browns plan on being there, it's going to be behind the arm of Deshaun Watson, but he can't play like Zach Wilson, for Christ's sakes. Yes, a lot of optimism out there that Watson will right the ship this year, but that was historically bad last year. So I'm going to reserve my commentary on Deshaun Watson, what he is now. Because we saw Dak turn into a different player. Now, yes, his was injuries, but Watson went through a lot. You never know what kind of mental toll that can have on a person. So interesting to see what happens with Deshaun Watson. We can follow all of these NFL storylines, though, by going over there and playing with us. Get involved with Wagertainment, Splash Sports, right? Description, links in the bio, how you can get down with our NFL Survivor contest and our Week 1 Pick'em game. And there'll be some other games over there as well that we can compete in. Always affordable because we all want to have a good time. Let's talk a little college football now. This past weekend, we had week 0 in college football. We had a couple of big dogs play. Number 6 ranked team in the country, the USC Trojans, made easy work of San Jose State. They beat them, I think, 38-26. Did not cover the 30-point spread. So San Jose State brought that one in. Still a fairly easy win. Caleb Williams was fantastic. Threw 4 touchdown passes, 278 yards. You know what I'm saying? Leading guy for the Heisman right now at plus 450. Now, USC's defense still stinks. That's got to improve, or they will not be Pac-12 champions, and they won't be nowhere near the college football playoffs. But Williams did what he was supposed to do, right? I like Williams a lot. I think he's a Patrick Mahomes type talent, and when you say generational talent, I think Williams deserves that. I'm going to have some money on him to be the first guy since Archie Griffin to repeat or not, be a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. USC has a very easy schedule to start. So I would get in on Williams right now at this plus 450 because by the time they get to Notre Dame, who I'm about to speak about, their real first test this season, Caleb Williams can be as low as a plus 150 favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Now, when he goes to Notre Dame, That's when he has his first tough test. And not only does Notre Dame have that defense and that great head coach in Marcus Freeman, now Notre Dame has a quarterback. They got the best quarterback out the transfer portal in Sam Hartman from Wake Forest. And he comes in there in his first performance out there in Dublin, Ireland, when the Fighting Irish covered the spread, successfully laid, what I believe it was, 20.5 points versus Navy, lit them up. 4 touchdown passes, 19 of 23. Son only had 4 incomplete passes. Sam Hartman, welcome to the Heisman Trophy race. Right now, most shops got Hartman at plus 1,400, 14-1. He's a guy that can really start the climb. Got the matchup versus Caleb Williams. Got the matchup versus Ohio State. Got to go to NC State in a couple weeks. If he continues to efficiently run this offense, and Notre Dame can score points like this, when you wear that gold dome on your helmet and you playing quarterback like this, you're going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. 14-1 right now on Sam Hartman is something to get involved with. I like both quarterbacks. And listen, the Heisman Trophy ladder or race, it'll fluctuate up and down throughout the course of the season. But, right now, I like to try to have a little bit of money on everybody. Williams being my favorite. I like Hartman and where he's at right now. I also like Jaden Daniels and also like Marvin Harrison Jr. as guys for the Heisman Trophy. But we got a big week of football coming up. College football, at least, getting started this weekend. Some big games. Later on during the week, we'll come back, break it down, get you some picks for those games. Switching up and going over and hopping on a little fantasy football. I know a lot of you got fantasy drafts this past weekend or some drafts coming up this upcoming weekend. Want to wish you success. Don't forget executive leagues. You will have an announcement this week, I promise, about how to play in fantasy executive leagues over at the Fantasy Football World Championships. Right now, it's links in the bio to play in those contests, in the description to play in those contests. But we'll get you some official dates on executive leagues. We'll do a best ball league and we'll do a mid-stakes league for people, we'll open it up to everybody, but definitely want to get some YouTube subscribers in there as well. And when we're talking fantasy football, I always warn people, take fantasy advice from fantasy dudes. Because when a guy like Adam Schefter gives fantasy advice, you never know what you're going to get. And listen, I'm quite sure Schefty has a couple leagues and thoughts like that. And he's a guy who's popular, so people want his opinion. So I went to see his cheat sheet, right? And he names like 16 players at each position. So he likes some of everybody. But I want to touch on a couple. He says he's in on Geno Smith and Jordan Love as late-round quarterbacks. I love Geno Smith coming into this season. I think Geno has a chance to have a pretty big year. You saw what he was able to do last season. Now, last year he slowed down a little bit when the running back Kenneth Walker got hurt. But now you give him another explosive weapon in Jackson Smith and Jigba to go along with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Another year with Pete Carroll in that offense. Success breeds confidence. He's more comfortable. I got Geno Smith as a top 10 quarterback this year. Like, I'll take guys like Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields over Geno Smith. But that's really about it. I'll take Geno over a guy like Dak Prescott. I'll take Geno over Josh Allen. Obviously, I'll take Geno over Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers and guys like that. So, and I also like Jordan Love as a late-round guy as well. I think Jordan Love is a player that's going to be a surprise for fantasy managers this season. So I think he's the guy you'll be looking to pick up on your waiver wire. As Schefter's running backs, he got the top of the list guys, McCaffrey, Eckler, Chubb, Pollard, Jones. His middle round guys, he got the guys we all talk about, James Cook, Khalil Herbert. Now, he does have Brian Washington Jr., the Washington running back, in the mix, right? I think that Antonio Gibson is the guy that I'm going to target in that DC backfield, that commander backfield. He's the guy that I think is the better pass catcher, and he's the guy that new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy has been raving about in camp and how many different ways he's going to use him. So I like Gibson more than I like Brian Robinson. He goes on the list, guys like Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby. Both of those dudes I like as well. So, and he also mentions Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle. Somebody's going to step up as a backup running back in Dallas. I think it's going to be Deuce Vaughn. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see all those guys get involved. Now, will all of them have fantasy value? likely not. But like guys like Warren, Bigsby, late round guys you take a flyer on. I'm with Adam Schefter on that. His wide receivers, he likes all the ones. We like Chase, Lamb, Wilson. I'm in Ross St. Brown, who is now rock solid first rounder. In the middle rounds, he like Calvin Ridley, who we like, George Pickens, Brandon Cooks, Smith and Jigba, who we mentioned earlier. In the late rounds, though, he has a couple interesting names. Sky Moore. I'm always very pessimistic about these Kansas City receivers because outside of Tyreek Hill, the only one that really catches the football consistently for fantasy purposes is Travis Kelce. And, Hill's going now. So really it's just Travis Kelce. Kansas City always has these upstart young wide receivers, and they never really do nothing for fantasy. He lists Jordan Addison. I'm buying in on Jordan Addison. I think it's going to be a lot of throwing of the football in Minnesota, a lot of negative game script. I'm in on Zay Flowers, and I'm in on Juju Smith-Schuster. Just took him in the draft last night. He'll be the number one option for Mac Jones out there in New England. And that's really about it. Guys like Jacoby Myers, Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, Jaden Reed, and Michael Bolson, no big deal. Tight ends, he got all the guys we like. Kelsey Andrews, you don't have to say that. Waller, Ingram, Furman from Pittsburgh. Late rounds, he has Tyler Higbee, I like. Dalton Kincaid, I like. Chika Conwu, I like as well. Juwan Johnson is kind of getting on that Bigfoot trajectory where we always hear about the talent of Juwan Johnson, but we never see it. So that's why I'm going to stay away from him. If it does happen for him, it's going to happen on somebody else's fantasy team. And finally, before we get up out of here today, I want to touch on Shohei Ohtani. As many of you who follow baseball may know, Ohtani has suffered another UCL injury. Looks like he's going to be on the shelf. Yet determine when they're going to do surgery or anything like that. I want to talk about this guy, right? Because, he's all the rage in baseball. So in the middle of the summer, when there's no sports going on, he's hitting 40 home runs and striking out 10, 12 batters when he pitches. People liken him to Babe Ruth, who I think is a fraud anyway. I think Babe Ruth is a fictional character, like a baseball Santa Claus. I don't really think Babe Ruth was ever really a thing. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want to. But when you can show me a picture of Babe Ruth that don't look crazy or talk to somebody who's seen Babe Ruth play, holla at your boy. Until then, he's a figment of our imagination. Shohei Ohtani's greatness is also a figment of our imagination. This guy needs to pick a side and go with it. Either you're going to hit or you're going to pitch. Then this way, maybe you can stay on the field. Because this guy right here in 2017, first degree UCL sprain soon as he gets to the Angels. Then the blisters. Then in June 2018, grade 2 UCL sprain. 2018, Tommy John surgery. All right, we should be good to go now. 2019, shut down for knee surgery. 2020, a flexor strain. And then now this latest one, 2023, removed from start versus the Reds last week with a torn UCL. Enough is enough. Stop trying to sell us on this baseball Santa Claus who can hit and he can pitch and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He can't stay on the field. Pick a side and go with it. If you pick one side and go with it, maybe you can play for a full year and win an MVP like they want you to do so bad. Enough with the Ohtani thing, enough already. Please stop it. The guy doesn't do anything. Oh, he hit home runs. Oh, he pitched. He do it for half a season and he give up because his body can't take it. Son, pick a side and go with it. Once again, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the Executive Network on YouTube. Definitely appreciate that. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do that. Do not forget, right now in the description box, you got a link where you can go down there and sign up for the Executive Network Splash Sports NFL Survivor Contest. In the coming days, we'll have more games you can play, more information how you can get involved in wagertainment right here at the Executive Network. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for rocking and rolling with us on Executive Network. Executive Decisions with your boy Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executive. Be back later on this week. Until then, good times.